Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 487. Holy crap, that's a lot of episodes. UFC 316, Dvalishvili versus O'Malley, numero dos. All right, this is going to be the rematch between the two. This is the title fight, the bantamweight title fight. We're going to go through that. We're going to go Kayla Harrison, Julianna, Peña. We're going to talk about that fight. Rest of the fights on the main card, we're going to go through all of them round by round. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. The next videos coming out. We got two title fights to talk about. So even though they didn't go to the distance, spoiler alert, we should still get right into this stuff and not dilly-dally over here. All right. Merab Dvalishvili taking on Sean O'Malley. All right, one quick note. As Merab was walking to the cage, the freaking crowd fell. Like the guardrails along the sides of the steps that line the tunnel, the walkout tunnel, collapsed. And people fell in. Like this happened once a couple years ago. Distinctly, I remember that one in the UFC. I don't know if it was Ilya Topuria walking out. I forget who it was, but I remember it happening, and it wasn't that long ago. So whatever's going on at these stadiums, they need to fix this stuff because this is going to be bad at some point. Anyway. All right, fight starts out. O'Malley starts a spinning back kick to the body, but losing ground to Dvalishvili, pressuring him to the warning track. So Merab doing a great job with his pressure. O'Malley just backing up straight. He's trying to like move laterally, but he's just not able to get the distance that he needs to. He's got some stabbing kicks up the middle, landing that right hand to the body, as well as the lead hook up top when Merab moves forward. But the problem is, none of it's stopping Merab from moving forward. So eventually, Merab gets actually, O'Malley tripped along the fence. Dvalishvili gets the takedown from that trip. They get right back up, and then Merab getting another takedown along the fence, landing a little bit of ground and pound, and that should win him this round. Honestly, it wasn't a ton of ground control time, 1 minute and 54 seconds, but he did outstrike him 17-12. I feel like he did about the same amount of damage, if not more. So that's clearly his round 10-9. Second round, O'Malley fighting for the center. They go back and forth with Merab, landing the two hook up top as he's pressuring. O'Malley finding the mark with a clean right hand. Beautiful stuff to start from both guys. Merab just does such a good job of taking space and not giving it back. So every forward step that he makes, right? So like obviously it's more jittery. It's not, Alex Pereira style where he looks like he doesn't know how to move. He's bouncing a little bit, moving left and right, but he's constantly taking at least half a step forward, and he never gives up space consistently. Obviously, in a moment, he might move back to avoid a shot or something like that, but for the most part, he just moves forward, and he doesn't relinquish any of the space. So O'Malley was doing a good job of pressuring in the second round early, but then eventually started giving up ground again. O'Malley was defending takedowns really well this round for the first 4 minutes, landing that right hand to the body. The problem is, this was a super close round with neither guy really separating themselves, neither one really landing anything heavy. And the problem for O'Malley in this case is that because he was constantly moving backwards and defending positionally, this goes to Merab. And yeah, the striking numbers were in his favor anyway, 23-19, but the big difference here was the pressure. Just like in that first round, but the first round, that pressure led to a takedown. This one, it just led to, O'Malley constantly being on the defensive. 20-18. Last round here, O'Malley defending the takedown well, lands a right hand, but then Merab re-engages, lifts him up, and we saw it in the thumbnail, doing his signature, carry him around. I miss that. For those of you guys who are a little bit more old school fans, do you guys remember the old days when we saw this more often? I know there was only a few guys like Matt Hughes and Sean Shirk that did it consistently, but it seemed to be a staple of the UFC, where you get these wrestlers who get in deep on a single, grab the hips, lift them up, and just walk them around the cage. I love that stuff. It's so old school for me, and it brings back a lot of fun memories. Plus, it's fun to watch, and Dvalishvili's a for sure character, so anyway, that was fun. Dumps him down. He gets north-south. He goes like a north-south, like he goes for it's a ninja choke, right? Where he's just on the neck and he goes over the top with that figure four, right? So it's the rear naked choke grip, but from like the front headlock position. And then O'Malley defends properly by, going to his back, but Merab doesn't give up that the control with his arms, and he slides. he uses his chin and he slides that the blade of his hand over the neck of O'Malley, and I think it turned into almost like an Ezekiel choke, a north-south Ezekiel. I'm sure there's a name for that one. I don't know, but it's like an inverted Ezekiel choke. He gets the tap. It was really nasty. Great fight for him. I thought O'Malley looked good, and I think going... let's look at the scorecards real quick. I have not seen them yet. Chris Lee and Saul D'Amato giving those first 2 rounds to Dvalishvili, and then Eric Colon giving that second round to Sean O'Malley. So on his card, it was, like I said, that second round was relatively close, and I could see people giving it to O'Malley. Point is here, if this fight continues, because he got the finish relatively late in the third round, if this fight continues, do I think O'Malley could have found a finish? Yes. Does my gut tell me that would have happened? No. But I think he could have found a finish. I think this fight would have remained relatively entertaining. I thought it was fun. I wouldn't mind them seeing them fight each other again. But that being said, let's move on from this. Sean O'Malley needs to fight someone else. An Umar fight, although Dana White afterwards saying like the Umar Merab rematch would be fun. He's really just trying to push that last name. Umar's been sitting out. He's going to be sitting out for over a year. Umar should be fighting someone like Petr Yan. He should be fighting a Sean O'Malley, a Song Yadong. Like, he should be fighting some of these other guys on their way up here. There's no reason for him. Mario Bautista after this weekend. I know that's way outside of like the top 5. He's being number 10. The point is, Umar has gotten to skip the line and then just fight these guys at the top. And yes, he beat Corey Sandhagen, but Sandhagen's active. Sandhagen just fought. And he just fought Deiveson Figueiredo and like destroyed him. So Deiveson Figueiredo versus Umar would be a fun fight. But again, Umar doesn't have to fight off any of these challengers. His job is literally just to sit and wait until Dana White wants to give the Nurmagomedov team another title shot. Good grief. As far as Merab fighting next, Sandhagen, that's what I want to see. Merab called him out. I think it's all good. Let's go. Love Corey Sandhagen. Finally giving him a shot at the official title would be fantastic. Really cool. He had his moment against Petr Yan, couldn't get it done. So let's see if he's strong enough of this together and can fight arguably one of the best. Merab is so fucking good. If you take him back, do you think he beats TJ Dillashaw or Dominic Cruz? I think he has a harder time with them because of their wrestling base. I think, see, the thing is when everybody's comparing him to them or looking back or based off of what he's doing to the current guys, like the current guys don't have the wrestling base. Yes, Umar did, but you could see that he wasn't able to take him down and dominate him the same way every single round. TJ and Dominic Cruz were famous for the cardio. I think that a lot of these guys in their prime, like even Henry Cejudo in his prime, I think would have been a challenge for Merab, but we don't get to see those things. So I'm not going to do revisionist history and say like, oh yeah, you throw Merab back there, he's going to stomp all of them. I do think it would have been competitive, and I think it would have been fun, and I think he absolutely would have had a chance to beat those guys. The point is, let's just talk about the here and now. I think he's awesome. I want to see him fight more people. I want to see if he strings together a few more title defenses. He said he wants to fight a lot. I love this kind of stuff, and I hope he doesn't get punished for fighting often. Right? I hope he doesn't get fucking tanked by the UFC and then driven deep into the lower rankings because of 1 or 2 losses or something like that. I hope that doesn't happen. All right, let's talk about the co-main event, shall we? Julianna Peña taking on Kayla Harrison. So Julianna Peña was the champion. Emphasis on was here. And she just... good grief. So Kayla Harrison looked fantastic. All right, let's talk about this, and then we'll talk about maybe what happened afterwards. Nothing bad. There was a feeling out process for about over 90 seconds with Peña ducking down, staying really low. You could tell that she didn't want to get taken down, although Kayla Harrison isn't big into the blast double legs. She's a lot of get you up against the cage, trips, working underhooks, maybe working to a single leg dump, like those kind of things. She's much better along the cage. She's not a traditional blast double leg freestyle wrestler. She comes from judo. Anyway, Harrison getting the double under takedown and then landing some good ground and pound. Peña landing 2 illegal up kicks as Harrison is in her guard. I hate that shit, but there was a point deduction immediately. Now, there was some back and forth about, I wonder, why was there a point deduction immediately without a warning? Okay. There should be no discussion. There should be zero discussion here. I don't care. John Anik is trying to be fair, and I understand he doesn't want to be bombastic. The commentary team can be, but they're so out of it and up their own ass a lot of the time they don't even give a shit. They just want to see blood and guts and whatever. Or their favorite fighter get the benefit of the benefit of the doubt. That's really what they're about. So I'm not going to harp on them too much for this one thing, but the fact that they have to question why you would take a point for an illegal strike, that shows us the horrible place that we are in as far as officiating in modern MMA. It is so bad that if somebody does something illegal and then is reprimanded for it by what the referee can do, which is immediately take a point, there's a hesitation and even a questioning of why it's happening. That's fucking horrible. That's horrible. I cannot believe there's any discussion whatsoever, right? This wasn't egregious. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't so damaging that the fight couldn't go on. None of that. It doesn't matter. An illegal strike is an illegal strike. Okay? This isn't even like a nut shot or an eye poke or a fence grab. This is striking an opponent in an illegal way, a way that is expressly forbidden by the rules that they are fighting under. I don't care about your opinions about real fighting. I don't care about your opinions about what should or shouldn't be illegal. They are fighting in the current rule set. They broke the rule. She broke the rules, and she was immediately reprimanded for it and punished. That's the end of it. There should be no questioning. Anyway, this was a 10-8 round for Kayla Harrison because of that point deduction. 2 minutes and 35 seconds of control time. She outstruck her 8-6. Just total domination by Harrison. Second round, Harrison using that jab and that high kick to get Peña backed up against the fence, looking to get that takedown. Peña just getting overwhelmed, right? She gets her down to the ground. She isn't able to do anything. Harrison pressuring in with that shoulder into the side of the face and the neck. Just horrible position to be in. Harrison is got some heavy top pressure. And then with 5 seconds left, Harrison gets on top and is able to get the Kimura finish and get the tap. You know, if Peña, you can call, for anybody out there, I didn't see anybody posting this, but anybody out there saying, like, there's only 5 seconds left, why would she tap? Because she was going to get her arm broken. Or her shoulder dislocated. Either one of those is a lot harder to recover from, because you're going to lose the fight anyway in that case. And both of those things are a lot harder to recover from than the emotional scar of tapping. Like, you can just move on. Julianna Peña isn't this undefeated fighter who needs to keep mentally strong by keeping the O next to her. None of that. Just tap and move on. And that's what she did. Let's see what happens. Kayla Harrison, let's look at the rankings in her division, even though they don't really fucking matter because that's not what's going to happen next. You know, you got Raquel Pennington who had that loss to Julianna Peña, so not really interesting. Ketlin Vieira, not really interesting. Norma Dumont, I guess, could possibly be interesting. Macy Chiasson, that's not that interesting either. Irina Aldana, none of these. Mayra Bruna Silva, awful. Yana Santos, awful. Carol Hosa, awful. Jacqueline Cavalcante, not great. Misha Tate, interesting because of a name, but not a good fight. None of these. Jocelyn Edwards shouldn't be in the fucking rankings, shouldn't be in the UFC, should definitely not be at bantamweight. Makes it one time and all of a sudden she's in the rankings. Get the fuck out of here. Chelsea Chandler is still in. Okay. The women's bantamweight is so bad. It's worse than UFC light heavyweight. Anyway, I just read all of those. That was waste. I just wasted your time. She ain't fighting any of them. Harrison's most likely going to fight the only person with any name recognition, and that's Amanda Nunes, who came up into the cage afterwards. Apparently completely organically, but whatever. All right, let's move on. Kelvin Gastelum taking on Joe Pyfer. I wrote a note before the fight started. I said, if Gastelum can avoid the big shots and use his cardio, this fight will be interesting. That is not what happened. I did not think it was going to go this way. Pyfer has definitely leveled up his fight IQ, and it has cost us a little bit of excitement. That being said, very smart move by him. All right, first punch that lands, a huge right hand from Pyfer, and Gastelum is put down. Super dangerous for Pyfer because he could gas himself out. That's what I was expecting. We've seen it before. Pyfer's patient, digging to the body hard with that right hand. A lot of waiting from both guys. Neither really wants to lead in the middle of the round. They're just waiting to react. Big head kick from Pyfer as Gastelum jabs to the body. Another big right hand from Pyfer puts him down yet again. 2 big knockdowns this round. Damage way out in front for Pyfer, and he didn't use that much energy. He outstruck him 21-8. Definitely did more damage, and I could see him winning this round for sure. I could see him winning if he continued to do this in this exact same way. All right, second round, Gastelum using that straight left to the body well. Pyfer with that big uppercut as Gastelum ducks. This version of Pyfer is going to be a tough matchup for a lot of people, just because if he's patient and he can defend against takedowns, stay on his feet, and avoid damage coming back at him and punish you for entering, right? That's the key. If he can avoid just waiting and getting outpointed and punish you for moving in, he's going to be a dangerous guy. Now, that's another step up from what he did here, because this round and the last round weren't exactly great, so he needs to kind of figure this out. Gastelum is having such a problem with the range, not wanting to get too close, but that means he's just out of the range for his reach, and he's missing a lot. Gastelum might be winning this round with more shots and activity, but Pyfer just wants to land big, and those big shots might have kept it for him. The striking numbers were 17-11 in favor of Pyfer. He outstruck him, outdamaged him, in my opinion. I gave him this round. I thought the activity was higher. I thought the striking numbers would have been in the favor of Gastelum in this round, but I'm wrong. 2018. Last round, Gastelum more jittery, really wants to land something big. Pyfer staying tight and landing as Gastelum opens up. A big 1-2 for Gastelum, the biggest shot he's landed all fight. Pyfer takes him down easy, but they get right back up. Gastelum should win this round for sure. Even though he got outstruck here 19-14, I felt like Gastelum landed bigger shots in this round, did more damage. But Pyfer won this fight 29-28. Looking at the scorecards, I am a little interested to see which rounds they gave him. All right, Eric Colon, they're all over the place, kind of, as far as total scores. So Saul D'Amato gave all 3 rounds to Joe Pyfer. I got no problem with that. Chris Lee gave the first 2 rounds of Pyfer, last round to Gastelum, no problem with that. And then Eric Colon did the same thing as Chris Lee, but that first round he gave Joe Pyfer a 10-8. Again, I don't have a problem with that. All those scorecards are fine. Yeah, man. Joe Pyfer, he's going to be dangerous. Just got to see what happens with his risk management, his cardio, and dealing with more of these veteran fighters. All right, Mario Bautista versus Patchy mix. All right, I will say this. I'm going to say this up front. I actually took this note, I think, in the... let's see here. I took a note about the way Mix was moving. Oh, I took it at the end. I took this note again at the end of the second round, so hopefully I don't repeat myself. If you watch the way Patchy Mix was moving this entire fight, I made a note about it too, about not moving his head. And you watch how stiff he was in his movements and how rigid. He just wasn't flowing, and he seems slow and out of it. And then you look at where all the cupping marks. So cupping, if you guys don't know, everybody should. It's where they put like those little bell jars, those little cups on your back, and then they suck the air out, right? And it pulls your skin up. It pulls blood to the skin. It irritates that area, which causes blood flow to the area, which can help with healing. And there's a lot of other stuff. Like the science behind it isn't there necessarily, but people love doing it, and it makes them feel better. So it is what it is. Anyway. Generally speaking, and it leaves little circles everywhere that you did that. Generally speaking, when people get cupping done, it's because they have problems in those areas, because they get it done in specific areas. And you could see all over, Patchy Mix's shoulders, like upper shoulders and neck are right around this area, down his lats and his scapula, around his scapula down to his lat. You could see, right? So obviously, I'm pointing to my frickin' collarbone. That's not my scapula. My scapula's back here. Anyway, you see all those cupping marks. I think something was wrong with Patchy Mix's neck. I think he fucked up his neck in training, didn't want to call out of his first UFC fight, and that's what we got here. I just wanted to say that because I noticed something didn't look right. Patchy Mix is a much better fighter than this. And then nobody really addressed it. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody said it. So I figure I'll get it out there now. He might not even mention it. So anyway, Bautista stabbing kicks to the body, low kicks, long 1-2s, keeping Mix in the warning track. Mix is having such an issue keeping pressure with Bautista. He's just reacting early. He's not really putting together a lot of offense. Mix starting to find some range, but his head being straight up in the air, and it keeps leaving him open for that straight right hand down the middle, and he just couldn't move out of the way of Bautista's shots. Mix is eating so many body shots, and he's just so stiff out there. He got outstruck here 43-36. It wasn't a blowout, but he definitely lost his first round. Second round, Mick's starting to keep that, keep the center, move forward a bit. Bautista still with the high output. Mick's using that lead hook and catching Bautista when he comes in, finally starting to pick up the offense for himself. Bautista still throwing, but now Mick is right in there, landing with him. So every time they enter, at least he's throwing back, but oh, this is where I took that note. It was still this round still went to Bautista. Outstruck him 65-59. Like I said, it was a closer round than the first one, but Mick has just looked so stiff and not flowing. So I had a 20-18 last round. Bautista putting the pressure on, keeping the jab out there, active. He just outstruck him. There's not a lot of notes I can take from here. He just way more output, 65-27. Looking at the scorecards. D'Amato gave Patchy the last round. I know why he gave him that last round. I disagree with it. He gave Patchy Mix that last round because at the very end, Mix appeared to maybe hurt Bautista. I didn't think he hurt him. Maybe Saul D'Amato did. Okay, I will give him that charitable because everybody else gave it 30-27. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, man, I'm already 21 minutes in. Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. I hope people are still here because this was exciting for me. I love Kevin Holland. I think he's fantastic. He's so much fun to watch. I think that he's so good for the UFC. I think he's so good for any division he's in, and fighting at welterweight is so much better for him. And he started talking immediately when this fight started. Luque catches a kick, right, and then tries to dump him, and Holland just starts landing a shitload of punches, like hammer fists from the side, just doing anything. And Luque has to drop the foot. In the clinch, Holland landing a nasty elbow that wobbles him, and Luque stands right along the fence. Lands a right when he's moving right along the fence. And Holland talking to Luque's corner. Luque's corner is like, don't let him talk you out of it. And Holland immediately responds to him like, talk him out of it? Hell no. Like, I'm going to talk him into it. Like, don't let him talk him out of the fight. I'm going to talk him into the fight. It's fantastic shit. Big hematoma right there behind the ear from that elbow as the fight went on. You could see it. This was Holland landing bigger shots. He outlanded him 35-22, looking so much better. 10-9. Second round, Holland catches a kick, gets right into an anaconda choke, and then gets a fucking tap. Fantastic. Now, they called it a Darce choke. Yeah, okay. So luckily, whoever ran, hey, shout out to the person running the UFC webpage here. You, despite what everybody said, typed in the correct choke. Thank you, for the love of all that is holy. That was driving me nuts. Nobody corrected them. Joe Rogan, of all people, didn't correct them. DC called it a Darce choke. The commentary. Bruce Buffer called it a Darce choke. And then even Holland was like, yeah, I'm really good with the Darce choke. This is more of a modified Darce choke. They call this the dark choke. No, there's a name for it already, guys. It's called the anaconda. All it is the lock is on the other side. The lock is underneath the armpit instead of around the neck, right? You form that triangle position, so the choking area is in here. You're forming that triangle, but instead of this side, right? Instead of this being on your neck, it's in your armpit, okay? It's, god dang, guys. It's so silly. I can't believe that went so, that was so frustrating. And I'm not one of those guys who's like, you need to use the proper jiu-jitsu terms and you must speak in Japanese. Like, I don't care about all that. But something that's this obvious, like, it's two different chokes. Like, they're not the same. So anyway, that's it. I'm just really happy for Holland. I hope he puts things together. I really want him to make a run. I would love to see him fight the top 5. I'd love to see him fight for a title. He's his own worst enemy because of his activity. He takes fights on short notice. He takes fights that he shouldn't have, and he constantly stays busy. But that keeps him in the UFC. It keeps him with a job, and I'm just excited to watch him fight. I love watching that dude fight. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. It means a lot to me. I know this video went a little bit long, but we did have 2 title fights and a lot to talk about, so I appreciate y'all. Subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of thing. That in the next video is coming out, and I really appreciate it. Again, thank you guys so much. Love you guys. Have an amazing week. Peace.